What if I told you that Zach Roloff's final words to Caryn Chandler were so raw, so emotional, that they may have changed the Roloff family forever? A moment so powerful that it left fans questioning whether the Roloffs could ever recover from the fallout. At the heart of this emotional storm lies a confrontation that's been years in the making. According to whispers from those close to the family, Zach looked Caryn in the eye and accused her of the unthinkable, of trying to replace someone who could never be replaced in his life. A shocking charge that hits at the core of family loyalty, grief, and betrayal. To truly understand the weight of Zach's words, we need to step back and look at the tangled web of Roloff relationships. Matt Roloff, the patriarch, found companionship with Caryn Chandler after a split from Amy. While their love story blossomed, it only deepened the divide between Matt and his children, especially Zach. For Zach, the farm wasn't just land. It was a symbol of family heritage, a dream he once believed he would inherit. That dream crumbled when Matt chose a different path, a choice that many fans believe Caryn played a central role in. The tension between Caryn and Zach and Tori has never been a secret. From icy interactions on screen to whispered disagreements off camera, their fractured relationship has long been one of the show's most talked about storylines. But now, with Zach's emotional confrontation, the stakes have never been higher. Was this the breaking point? Did Caryn finally hear the words Zach had held back for so long? And could this showdown mark the beginning of the end for the Roloff family as we know it? Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. From the outside, the Roloffs may look like a family bound together by years of television fame and shared farm memories. But under the surface, the history is complicated. Wounds that never fully healed continue to influence every confrontation today. One of the biggest sources of tension has always been the farm inheritance dispute. For years, Zach Roloff dreamed of one day taking over Roloff Farms, carrying on a legacy that his father Matt worked so hard to build. But when those conversations came to a head, Zach felt sidelined. Matt's vision for the farm didn't line up with his son's dreams, and instead, the future began to lean heavily toward Matt and Caryn's joint plans. To Zach, it felt like the door was closing, shutting him out of something that should have been his birthright. This conflict naturally intertwined with family loyalties. Zach has always been close to his mom, Amy Roloff, and fiercely protective of her role in his life. When Amy left the farm and Matt's relationship with Caryn became more public, Zach struggled. To him, Caryn wasn't just Matt's partner. She was someone who seemed to step into a space Amy once held. The emotional weight of that shift can't be overstated. To Zach, it wasn't only about land or business. It was about family identity, about who belonged where, and about whether his mother's importance was being diminished. Caryn's presence, meanwhile, was controversial almost from the start. While Matt appeared to lean on her for stability, planning, and future dreams, Zach often saw this as another way his father was choosing Caryn over family tradition. He believed Caryn was becoming too central in decisions that affected the Roloff legacy, decisions Zach felt he should have been part of. The result? A growing resentment that only deepened as the years went by. Fans of Little People, Big World noticed these dynamics too. Many viewers have long believed that Zach never truly accepted Caryn as part of the Roloff family's future. They saw his frustration as genuine, a man trying to hold onto the legacy of his mother while feeling his father was rewriting history with someone new. And while some defended Caryn, suggesting she was simply supporting Matt's choices, others argued that her influence created a wedge too sharp to ignore. By the time Zach's emotional confrontation with Caryn unfolded, these old wounds weren't just resurfacing, they were exploding. Every farm argument, every uncomfortable family dinner, every moment where Zach felt overlooked had been building to this. This wasn't just about one conversation. It was about years of pain finally breaking through the surface. What was supposed to be a simple family gathering slowly shifted into a high-stakes confrontation. At first, the Roloffs were sitting together, sharing small talk, perhaps discussing farm updates or upcoming family events. But beneath the surface, emotions were simmering. Zach had carried this weight for years, feeling that his mother, Amy, had been edged out of the central role in the family story, and that Caryn had stepped into a place she was never truly invited to occupy. The moment escalated when Zach finally broke the silence, his voice sharp but filled with emotion. "You were trying to replace her." The room grew quiet. Everyone knew instantly who her was: Amy. Zach's words weren't just an attack. They were years of resentment boiling over. By replace her, he was accusing Caryn of sliding into Amy's role, both as the heart of the family and as Matt's partner in shaping the farm's future. To Zach, Caryn wasn't simply a girlfriend or fiancée. She was someone altering the legacy his mother had fought for. But the accusation cut deeper than just the farm. For Zach, it was about family identity. He worried that his children would grow up seeing Caryn, not Amy, as the grandmotherly figure central to the family's traditions. To him, this was a betrayal, not only of his mother, but of the family bonds that had once defined the Roloffs. Caryn had choices in that moment. She could deny, defend, or deflect. Her face reportedly shifted from shock to visible frustration. She insisted she was not trying to replace anyone, but her words carried a tone of defensiveness. "Zach, I've never tried to be your mom. I've only wanted to be part of this family." To some, her response sounded calm, even reasonable. To others, it felt like an evasion, sidestepping the deeper pain Zach was expressing. Caryn's position had always been controversial. Was she simply Matt's supportive partner, or had she been maneuvering herself into Amy's former role all along? Zach's frustration spilled out, not only as a son defending his mother, but as a father wanting to preserve the family's traditions for his own kids. He voiced the fear that family legacies were being rewritten, that Amy's story was being erased in favor of a new chapter dominated by Matt and Caryn. The tension spread through the room. Matt, caught in the middle, looked visibly uncomfortable, torn between his son's accusations and his loyalty to Caryn. Tori's protective instincts kicked in. She backed Zach with subtle but firm support, nodding as he spoke, clearly understanding the depth of his frustration. The siblings, too, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, had mixed feelings. Some sympathized with Zach's loyalty to Amy, while others, weary of old wounds, hoped the conflict would finally quiet down. Yet, the air was thick with an unspoken reality. This wasn't just a fight about personalities. It was about who gets to define the Roloff family legacy. The aftermath of Zach's fiery confrontation with Caryn didn't just end when the word stopped. It echoed through every corner of the Roloff family. For Zach, the exchange marked a breaking point. For years, he had been trying to balance respect for his father's new relationship while holding on to the bond with his mother, Amy. But Caryn's presence, especially in moments that touched on family decisions and traditions, had always felt like a shadow over his sense of loyalty. After the showdown, Zach began pulling away, not just from Caryn, but from Matt as well. It was a quiet retreat, a step back from the family gatherings, the farm projects, and the shared celebrations that once defined their lives. Tori, ever the peacemaker, stood firmly by Zach's side. She recognized the weight of his emotions, the years of frustration bottled up, and the way this confrontation tore open old wounds. But at the same time, she longed for peace, for her husband to find some sense of resolution, and for their children to grow up with a connection to both sides of the family. In private, Tori tried to guide Zach toward healing, yet she knew that some battles cut too deep to resolve overnight. Matt, caught in the crossfire, faced one of the most difficult dilemmas of his life. On one side was Caryn, his partner, and the woman he envisioned sharing his future with. On the other was Zach, his son, his blood, his legacy, and the child he once dreamed would carry on the Roloff farm. Torn between love and loyalty, Matt struggled to navigate the fracture. Supporting Caryn risked alienating Zach even further, but choosing Zach meant undermining the relationship that gave him stability in his later years. For Matt, the fight wasn't just a family squabble, it was a question of identity, belonging, and the future of everything he had built. Public reaction was just as divided. Fans flooded social media with passionate takes. Some applauded Zach, praising his loyalty to Amy and his refusal to let Caryn replace his mother's role in the family dynamic. Others criticized him for holding on to the past, arguing that he needed to accept Matt's new chapter and move forward for the sake of unity. The split wasn't just within the Roloff family, it rippled outward, sparking debates among longtime viewers of Little People, Big World who had invested years into following their journey. The long-term impact of this showdown feels more severe than any conflict before. For Zach, it could be the final nail in his connection to the farm. Years of negotiation, dreams of ownership, and hopes for his children to inherit that legacy now seem shattered. The farm, once a symbol of family togetherness, has become the battleground of irreconcilable differences. As for Caryn, her image remains polarizing. To some, she is misunderstood, unfairly cast as the villain in a story she never asked to write. To others, she embodies manipulation, accused of stepping into a role that was never hers to claim. This fight may have solidified her place in the narrative, not as a bystander, but as a central figure in the family's most painful fracture. Comparisons to past conflicts are inevitable: Jeremy's departure, Amy and Matt's divorce, or the disputes over selling portions of the farm. Yet this moment feels different, more final, more irreversible. It isn't just about property, money, or decisions. It's about identity, about who belongs where, about whether a family can survive when loyalty to the past collides with the realities of the present. As we reach the end of this emotional journey, one thing is clear: Zach Roloff's explosive words, "You were trying to replace her," were not just a passing statement. They reopened old wounds that have never fully healed, exposing the fragile foundation of the Roloff family dynamic. The rift between Zach, Caryn, and even Matt himself remains unresolved, leaving fans wondering if reconciliation is possible. For years, the Roloffs have shown strength in the face of conflict, but this moment feels heavier, a painful reminder that time doesn't always erase the past. And so we're left with the ultimate question: can the Roloffs ever truly heal these deep family divides, or has this become the point of no return? With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.